Good afternoon, everybody. Good day. Yes, welcome. I welcome everybody for yet another exciting, wonderful lesson. Yes, a lesson brought to you by STEM Digital School. This is grade 7 English home language, yes. On the 1st of July 2020, I am your teacher, your presenter, Dikiming. Yes. So yes, this is the first lesson for the term, and it will be very something which will really require everybody's participation. So yeah, debate part 1. Without a waste of time, let's get on with it. So if you are there, can you please say hi in the chat? Let me see who is here with us today. Let us see who is with us here today. Let me mark the register, so to say. Let me mark my register. Let's see who's here. Let's see who's present with me today. Yes. Oh yes, Fiso Gumbi, hello. You're present. Yes, thank you. Angelina Dube, thank you. Hi, I see a couple of highs. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for becoming part of the lesson. Then we have Mean or Mien. Yes, I hope I pronounced it right. So yes, thank you guys for joining us today. Thank you for becoming part of the lesson. And I'd like to say this, that, this lesson is going to be good. It's going to be great because of you. You are the reason why I'm here today at this point in time. Thank you so much for joining us. Without a waste of time, you know that time flies when you're having fun. So let's get on with it. Let's start. Hello, Mulihi. Everybody, welcome. Right. So today's lesson, I did say, is debate. So we'll be learning about what debating is, We will also learn about the reasons for why you need to debate at school. I mean, I've also wondered while I was still at school, but wonder no more. At the end of this lesson, you will know and understand why, as well as the benefits of debating, as well as how to prepare for a debate. Okay, so you realize that this lesson really is for everyone. Okay, even you who is shy, even you who is shy, whoever you are, you say that you really can't stand in front of people and say something. I'm telling you that, even you are included in this. You are not exempted in any way. This is lesson for everybody, and this is something that all of us really need. Okay, and stick with me in the lesson. I will show you. You will see how important this is. You will see and you'll learn how important today's lesson really is, not only for you to get marks at school, but also for the person that which you are outside of school. One thing about debate, guys, it is this. I mean, we know that as people, we see things in a different way. We do not see things in the same way, and with debate, that is where you get an opportunity to really give people your eyes, so to say, so that people can be able to see what you see. Okay, sometimes people don't see what you see, but with a debate, this is a very good tool, a very wonderful thing to really help you to show other people what that which they do not see, even if they do not understand, but at least they'll get to see your point of view. All right, and I can really testify and tell you that me growing up, I was a very shy learner. And I was so shy that, instead of speaking, I would rather write, and there was this friend of mine I had, and he thought that if I can really write that good, then surely I can really speak as good as I write. So he really got me out of my comfort zone. We started to go to debates together. When schools compete with debates, we will go together, and I eventually joined the debating team, and I really have debated, yeah. Anyway, I'm not saying this to brag. I'm just saying this to really get everybody out of our own shells, okay? To really show us that, the reason why this is in your curriculum is because this is something that we should need, okay? We are not doing this to pass time or because you are bored or whatever the reason may be. But we are here learning this because we really need to learn it, because learning it will really make a difference in our personal lives right now as teenagers that which you are, as well as later on in your professional life. I mean, some of you are going to become CEOs, some of you are going to start your own business, and who knows that maybe there will be some things that which will be said against you, some things that where you will really need to defend yourself by what you say, and this is where it comes from. Okay, so yeah, this is very important, guys. I hope by now you realize how important this is, and that we really are not passing time. Everything we learn here, it is that important. It is not because you are passing time or you are bored or whatever reason you may think of. Right. Okay, let me remember, guys, if you have a question about what we will be doing today, the chat is open. Please use the chat to ask a question, or you can just raise your hand and I will give you a chance to speak. Okay, remember, a debate is something which is very vocal. You get to speak in a debate, and I really would like to emulate as much. I really like to emulate a classroom situation even here on this online platform. Okay, remember, guys, we are at class even if you are at the comfort of your own room, at your own home, but we are all in class. Okay, so yeah, and because of that, we should really have a conducive learning environment, right? Okay, so that is it. Let's continue. Right. So, like I've already said, that it is through debate that we can let other people to see our point of view and to hear it. Okay. And I really can say this really is a very valuable skill. So debate really has to do with persuasion to some extent. Okay. Sometimes you really need to persuade people, be, because it's really that important. I mean, imagine right now if your parents sent you to the grocery store to buy bread, and it happens that maybe you lost the 50 rand change, and you're telling your parents that no, I didn't steal it, I really did buy bread, here's the till slip to really show that the change is 50 rands, but then now I want to give it to you and I can't find it, so you really need to be able to persuade them, to really be persuasive, to really show them that no, you didn't steal the money, you really lost it, that somewhere somewhere between the grocery store and you getting home, the 50 rand really fell off, and somebody really picked it up, and yeah, you just lost it, so you realized in life that all these skills that we should teach you in English, guys, they are really very important, they're really very important. That is why they are in your curriculum, that is why they are in your syllabus. All right. Okay. Hello, Mark the Conic. You are welcome to our class. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yes, you're welcome. Right. So a little bit of a quote there. Okay. It says, I quote, "We must speak our minds openly, debate our disagreements honestly, but always pursue solidarity." So this is a quote which was spoken by US President Donald Trump. Okay, so yeah, so that is a very interesting quote, and I think it really goes very well with the content of our lesson today. That this is something that which we really want you guys to really get out in school, to really get out when you get out of school, even right now before you're even done with your schooling. Okay, we really need you to be those people who are able to speak your minds openly. You can be able to speak your mind openly, you can be able to debate your disagreements honestly, and you can, but remember that in all that we pursue solidarity. Okay, so what that means is that when you speak your mind openly, is you are really being honest with yourself, and you're also being honest with the others, with the people that which you speak with. Okay, so when you speak your mind, like, you tell us your opinion, you speak your opinion, what you think about a certain thing, and if maybe we disagree, you also tell us why you disagree honestly, with respect, I mean, remember, we are all people at the end of the day, and we have to respect each other. We have to celebrate our differences, because it is our differences which makes us who we are. And can you imagine how life was going to be, how boring life was going to be if everybody else was just like you? Those kind of things. So yeah, so that is a quote which was spoken by the US President Donald Trump. And it's really interesting because it really is in line with our lesson for the day. Okay, let's go on. So remember that speaking is one of the most valuable assets for the lives of learners, both personal and professional. Okay, I think all of us can really agree with that, I mean, if you couldn't speak, or if you couldn't speak properly, chances are there are some things you really could have missed out on, simply because you couldn't speak. Okay, I don't know the stats. I don't know, I don't know. Okay, as for me, I know I do not have mind reading powers. I can't read what you're thinking, and I really think most of the people on earth, they really can't read your mind. Okay, so therefore, speaking then becomes a valuable asset, because that is when you can really get yourself to be heard. That is when you can really get people to really hear you. Okay, so speaking. So yes, you should be taught or groomed to talk with ease and accuracy. So this is also one of the things you'll be learning in school. Although you have been speaking a few years before you go to grade one, I mean, you've been speaking from what age? 2 years, 3 years, 4 years? Yeah, you've been speaking since that age, and maybe it doesn't make sense to you why you should be taught to talk. But you realize that when you grow up, all these things that you should learn in English, all those all those language structures, the nouns, the verbs, the adjectives, the adverbs, the simple sentences, the past tenses, all these things that you should learn, you realize that they form part of the language, they form part of you speaking. So you being able to learn them and to understand them, they really help to make you a very better communicator. You will be an excellent communicator, that even when you speak, people will not really be saying to you, excuse me, or pardon me, or what did you say? I mean, you can really be understood just by speaking once, and I really think that's something very commendable. That's something that I think we all should strive for. I mean, imagine you just say one thing and you really get the response that which you needed to hear. So that's something good. That's something very amazing, to really get that such of a response, simply because you can speak well. Okay, now let's get on to the juice of the lesson of the day. So we say the speaking process, it consists of the following two stages, especially with the debate. Number one is planning, and in your planning, that's when you research and you organize your information. Number two is practicing and presenting. Okay, so in the remainder of this lesson, I will be going through these two steps in depth. Okay, and remember, if you have a question, the chat is open. Please ask your question. If you are lazy to type, just raise your hand and I'll give you a chance to speak, to ask your question. Okay, to ask your question which is relevant to the lesson. Right, so number one, which is planning, which is about researching and organizing, right? So in here, when you plan, you make sure that you use appropriate register, style, and voice according to the audience, the purpose, the context, as well as the theme. Okay, so one thing you should be remember is that when you plan, you will, okay, let's say you are planning for a debate, right? Chances are when you plan, you will have been knowing what the topic is all about. You will be knowing what the topic is, right? So because of that, in your planning, then your planning then would be based on that. Okay. So yes, that is what your planning will be all about. Okay, you should make sure that your planning should be the purpose, the context, and the theme. Okay, I think to really make this easier, can somebody give me a topic that which I can really use as an example when I go through this, so that it makes more sense and it doesn't sound theoretical? Can somebody raise a hand to give me a topic, or you can write in the chat an interesting topic that I can use as an example? All right, okay, all right, okay, all right. Okay, can I think of a topic quickly, a very interesting topic? Okay, all right, okay, I can't think of anything at the moment, so let's see. So anyway, yeah, so remember, all these guidelines, they really go with any topic that which the debate will be all about. So right, remember also to use appropriate language. Okay, that is, your choice of words is very important, right? So in your choice of words, we talk about things such as action verbs, right? I don't know if you've did this yet, but remember with verbs, not every verb is an action verb, right? Remember we have auxiliary verbs, right? Auxiliary verbs such as is, are, will, were, would, could, and then you also have action verbs, like talking, speaking, writing, and all of that. So yes, you should also really bear in mind the type of action verbs you'll be using. Adjectives, right? Adjectives and their comparative and superlative degrees. I don't know if you've done this before, because we are just starting with grade 7 now here on STEM. But remember, adjectives are descriptive words, right? It is those words which describe something. For example, if I say this is a big book, then the word big becomes my adjective, because the word big, it describes the book, right? Yes. So those are adjectives, and they also have their degrees of comparison. Well, so we have the positive degree, the comparative degree, as well as the superlative degree. So, okay, let me just stick with this example of the big book. So if I say I have a big book, the word big there is a positive degree. Then if I have two books now and they are not of the same size, I will say book 2 is bigger than book 1. So the word bigger there, it becomes the comparative degree of my adjective. Why? Because I am comparing two big things, but the other one is bigger. And then for superlative, it will be when I have 3 or more books, okay? Then I will say that book 4 is the biggest of all my books. So the word biggest there becomes my superlative degree of comparison, because from there, like it is super, that is it is the biggest book of them all, yes. And then you also have to think about how to use adverbs. Adverbs are those words which tell us about a verb or how a verb is carried out. For example, I can say I eat nicely. Okay, so the word nicely there is an adverb. Why? Because it tells you about the verb, which is eat. So the word nicely, it tells us about how I eat. Okay, so that becomes the adverb. Then we have synonyms and antonyms. Remember, synonyms are words which mean the same thing. For example, if I don't want to say fast, I can say quick. So quick and fast are synonyms. And then antonyms are words which are opposite of each other. For example, Slow is the opposite of fast. Okay. And then we have homophones. Homophones are those words which have the same sound. They sound the same. They also, yeah, they sound the same, but they have different spellings and they mean different things, right? For example, the word sun, okay? Sun, S-O-N, is the boy child, right? And then we have S-U-N, which is that big yellow gas in the sky, right? So those are some examples of homophones because they sound the same, but they are not spelled the same. They are not written the same, and they mean different things. Then we have homonyms. Homonyms are the words which are written or spelled in the same way, but they mean different things, right? For example, I can say bat, bat. I mean, bat, B-A-T. B-A-T can be that animal which looks like a mouse and it has wings, it flies at night. And then bat is also that wooden equipment they use in baseball and also in cricket. So those are examples of homonyms. And then we have figures of speech, your metaphors, your simile, your hyperbole, etc., etc. And sometimes you may also have to use idioms. Idioms are those words which we say when we want to mean something, okay? For example, the idiom, it rains cats and dogs. That's an idiom, right? It is raining cats and dogs. What does it mean? It means that it is raining heavily, right? So that is an idiom. So sometimes you may really need to use idioms to really drive your point home. Then also proverbs, yes. Tone, mood, or humor. Yes, you should also be careful of all that, how you sound, your mood when you speak, and also, is there anything funny? Is there anything hilarious? Or anything humorous, right? And then also abbreviations. That's also one of the things to think about, to use abbreviations. And you should realize that abbreviations can be tricky because one abbreviation can mean something here, but it can mean something else. It can mean something elsewhere, right? So you should really be careful with that. Then we have prefixes and suffixes. Remember, what are those? Prefixes are, a prefix is the letters. A prefix is a letter. Oh no, a prefix is the letters which appear at the beginning of a word and they alter the meaning of the word, okay? So for example, we can say preview. So in the word preview, pre is our prefix because then if you remove view, then what you're going to have is, if you remove pre, we are going to have view, okay? Yes. And then we also have our suffixes. And then also have suffixes. Suffixes are the words which really appear at the end of a sentence, and they also affect the meaning of a word, okay? Because if then you can really remove a suffix from a word, the meaning of that word will be changed, okay? So, but we'll learn that when we do prefixes and suffixes, and you also think about the gender, the plurals of words, as well as their diminutives. All right, I think I've been speaking a lot so far. If there's anything if you are lost somehow, please, I'm gonna give you just a moment to ask a question. Is there anything that which you didn't get? Okay, so since like there is no question, there's no question, so we can just continue. So we're still on planning. So remember, you give facts and you express opinions, and with every fact and opinion that we should give us the reason why. Express the meanings, yes. Express your values, your attitudes, your bias, stereotype, etc. Remember, use persuasive language, manipulative language. I did say that debate really is about persuading other people. Then remember to use resources and reference materials such as dictionaries and thesauruses to select effective vocabulary. Okay, are we all together? I'm still waiting for a question, just for a few moments. Okay, so there are no questions. It seems like everybody's understanding this. I'm glad. Let's continue. I hope there are no questions because you're understanding and that there's no any other reason, because all other reasons that do not sound so good. Anyway, let's continue. Step number 2, practicing and presenting. Remember that in number 1, what we were doing, in number 1, we were planning, where we research and we organize what we are going to say. All right, okay. Now, in step 2, that is when you practice to present what you'll be saying, right? Then in step 2, you speak okay, here, that is when you practice, or that is when you are actually debating, right? So when you are in the front there, you speak directly to the audience, right? Um, do not look down at your shoes, how beautiful they are, how shiny they are that day. No, you do not look at your new trouser or your new socks or your new skirt, your new whatever. No, you need to look directly to the audience. Okay, so in the context of the school environment, your audience would be your former classmates, right? So you look directly to them. Okay, then you refer to relevant sources that you have consulted. Okay, you are people who have smartphones now, you have tablets. Okay, myself, in our day, when I was still in high school, grade 6, grade 7, high school, grade 8, um there there were really no smartphones. It was just those feature phones. They really had internet and they were expensive, and most of us, we really didn't have those phones until maybe we were in grade 9 or grade 10. So before those times, what we'll do when we were preparing for debate is we would we will really ask people for their opinions. We'll ask people what they know about the topic in hand that which we are researching. And we will also go to the library, go to that reference materials, those Encyclopedia Britannica, all those big books that which do not go out of the library. You see them, yeah, we will consult them, and we'll also see if maybe there are other books we can borrow. So that really was a hassle with us. But then good for you these days is that if you really are spoiled for choice. You really have your smartphone with you. You can really go to Google, you can go to Play Books. There is a lot of options for you when you are preparing to really look for relevant sources that which you can consult. Okay, yeah. Then remember to include a range of facts and examples according to the task requirements. Okay, so yeah, so that really is the thing. That really is the thing, that which you really need to do. Okay, and then another thing, you may also have to use effective introduction and conclusion. Remember, introduction really is the most important thing. It is really like when you meet a new person, right? If I meet you for the first time and the way I introduce myself to you is boring, chances are you wouldn't want to hear more about me, right? But then if then I introduce myself in a way that which you find me interesting, chances are that you and I can really become friends, right? You'll be like, wow, this guy, no, this guy's very funny, this guy is so interesting, this guy, blah blah blah, all those good things. And it is also the same with your debate, that if your introduction is interesting enough, people will want to listen to everything else you have to say. It is it is something they do to us on TV. I mean, before your favorite soapy plays tonight on TV, they will show you some few things and you'll be like, wow, is that really what's going to happen in tonight's episode? Then you are really hyped up that you really can't miss that episode. You'll do anything. You'll make sure that you wash the dishes earlier today. You'll make sure that you bath earlier today. You'll make sure that you get everything out of the way so that you can be able to watch that episode. It is the same with the debate too, that if your introduction is very interesting, if then your introduction is very interesting, people will want to listen to the rest of what you have to say. And your conclusion should also be that interesting, that you finish on a high note. And if you do that, people will remember you. Whenever we talk about debate, they will always remember you, that, oh, do you remember that girl, do you remember that guy? You'll always be remembered, and it won't be so easy to forget about you, right? So yes, remember also to develop ideas and arguments, right? Develop them in a way that they are creative, in a way that they are coherent, that is, they go together, and they show logical development and arrangement of facts, examples, and ideas. Why is this important? Chances are, especially with you now that you use your cell phones, because okay, with us this was not really that important, because remember, we can just go to the library. The library is big, and chances are there really is not enough time to look at every book that there is there. I'll just choose maybe 2 or 3 encyclopedias I will look into, then find what I find, and then I will organize all my information together. Right? Chances are, if you and other people were debating and we went to the same library, chances are that we will not be using the same encyclopedia. Maybe I'll be using book 2 of the encyclopedia, somebody else will be using book 3, another one book 10. So you realize that we'll all have different facts and ideas and information, right? But with you guys right now in the technology age, it's just that when we give you a topic, you will Google it, and then chances are that the first result which comes to you is FISO. It will be the same result which will come to Mark, the same result which will come to Molehi, the same result which will come to Angelina, the same result which will also come to iPhone, Jonathan, Mamukhatla, Min, and everybody else, right? So what that means is that you will be having the same ideas, and then when you debate, it will be like somebody stole another person's ideas. But no, it won't be like that. It will be the fact that you have used the same source and you do not know, right? So then what this means is that with the same information that you should have, just bring yourself into it, just read it and interpret it in your own understanding. What does it mean to you? And use your creativity. I mean, we are all creative guys, in different ways. We all have talents, we all have some things that which other people do not have, right? And in all that creativity is almost like you are bringing a spice, right? Somebody will be bringing paprika, the other one will be bringing cayenne, the other one will be bringing cinnamon, the other one will be bringing something else. And you realize that when you bring all these things together, they will not be the same, okay? You'll be talking about the same things, but from different perspectives, right? So that is something we all will need to remember. That is something you really need to remember now that you are tech-savvy people, that when you look for information, you do not go to the library, you just switch on your data, you just switch on your Wi-Fi and go to Google, right? That's something you really need to remember. So please remember to be creative. You become creative by doing things in your own way, okay? You become creative by doing things in your own way. You become creative when you use all that information you have, you you read it by yourself and you bring your own experiences, you bring your own opinions, everything that which you've heard from other people, what you've seen on TV, on the radio, on wherever, all those experiences, you bring them together to the facts that which you found. You bring them together to the ideas that which you found. And I can promise you that what you would be having at the end, it will be something unique. It will be something that belongs to you. It will be something as unique as your eye print. It will be something as unique as your fingerprints, okay? It will be something as unique as you as the individual. So that is something that which you should really look into, so that you can avoid having the same information as the next person, okay? Yes, so remember to use your originality, your creativity, introduce it in your facts and in your ideas, okay? Yeah, so it is like with cooking, guys, I mean, you can really cook the same thing but in different ways, okay? So just think of it that way. We do not want to really have that thing where it seems like one person is copying the other person, the other one is creative, the other one is not. No, we do not want such. Therefore, please use your creativity, get your personality inside what you have, okay, so that you can make it your own, so that it can be yours. Right. So remember also to use the elements of speech forms, right? Remember, you need to have an introduction so that all of us can be hooked, so that you can spark our interest with what you'll be saying. Remember that if your introduction is not interesting enough, chances are that you will everybody else will be bored, the audience will be bored, and you yourself may also not be, you may not be that enthusiastic to continue, right? So make sure that your introduction is so great, is so amazing, is interesting, is enthusiastic, and it will really want to have people to want to listen to more things you will want to say. And remember, there should also be the first transition, what comes after the introduction. You continue to second transitions, then the body where you speak about everything, where you expand everything, and then at the end where you will be concluding, right? Yes. Okay. And then remember also that in you using your arguments, remember also to use the art of persuasion. Like I have said before, that guys, debate is really about persuasion. You are persuading other people to see things the way you do. There is someone who is disagreeing with you, though they disagree. Okay, so this is a very delicate skill, and you should really look into using it when you present or when you practice to present your debate. Right? Okay. Remember also that when you are practicing to really put your things in order, remember your organizational structures. You should really look into having your facts in chronological order. Okay. Chances are, if your things are not in chronological order, what that does is that you will confuse everybody. Even yourself, you will be confused, okay? Imagine then you are telling us how to do something, right? You are telling us how to make tea, right? So then if you're telling us how to make tea, and then you start to say that put the tea back in the water, and then put water, and then boil water, put sugar, put milk, we are confused because you didn't tell us things in chronological order, right? But then if you can say it in chronological order and say that if you want to make tea, boil some water in the kettle. After boiling the water, pour the hot water in the cup, pour the tea bag and let it simmer for a while. Pour 3 teaspoons of sugar and pour 2 teaspoons of powdered milk. Stir, and then you have your tea. Then all of us will understand, because that is in chronological order, right? Yes. Remember also, you should be topical, which means that you should always keep to the topic, okay? Never off ramp. Make sure that whatever you talk about is in line with the topic. Sometimes you may need to bring in the cause and effect, right? Where you talk about how one thing is caused by the other thing, right? So by doing that, you will be showing us that you know your story, you know what you are talking about, and we really need something like that. Then sometimes you may also need to compare two things, compare or contrast two things, so that you can be able to better communicate your viewpoints or your argument. Then you may also need to give us a problem and the solution to that problem as a way to inform us and to persuade us. I mean, this is something that which we always see on TV in adverts, you know. You see there is this person who has black hairs, you know, that is the problem. You know, oh, look at you, you have black hairs. Black hairs are a problem. How are you going to go to your matric dance with black hairs? Oh, but don't worry, I have the solution. This is the soap. Wash with this soap for the next 7 days. The black hairs will be gone. Thing you may need to use in your debate, okay? Introduce a problem, then give us the solution to that problem. Then you will see that, oh, okay, so this is how it works. Then in that way, you are starting to succeed to persuade people to see things the way you do, right? Yes. And remember, since you've been using other sources, another thing to help you is when you give us appropriate proof, right? If you could give us the proof such as statistics, you know, statistics or a testimony, you know, those things can really help to strengthen your argument. And remember, whatever proof you give, it should be credible, it should be valid and relevant to the topic. So that if I don't believe what you're saying, I can go to Google and get the same thing. It should be something like that. And remember that when you address people, please be formal. Don't say, we know that in grade 7, you are still boys and girls, but when you debate, you know, just honor everybody and say, ladies and gentlemen, right? Okay. Right. Remember also to use all these things, right? Verbal and non-verbal communication, that is very important. The way you speak, the tone in your voice, your volume, the phrasing, your eye contact, those things are also important. Your facial expressions, you know, the gestures and your body language. Those things, guys, they are very important because the way you say something and your mannerisms when you're saying it are very, very, very important. Okay. So remember, guys, these are very important things. Remember to use them, you know, your eye contact. Keep eye contact with everybody. Make sure your facial expressions are consistent with what you're saying. For example, if you are saying something serious, then even your facial expression should be serious, right? Also, you know, make sure that your tone of voice is visible, is audible enough, sorry. Also your voice projection, because I remember us back in school when we debate, they used to tell us that use voice projection. What we will do, we will say voice projection out, hey, voice projection out, hey. So what that does is that it helps to clear your throat so that when you speak, you are louder enough and you can also be able to become more loud than you usually are, you know. And you realize that if you could speak with a loud voice, people will pay attention to you. It is like with a lion. It is said that when a lion roars, right? If let's say if a lion roars for 10 seconds, during that 10 seconds of the roar of the lion, every insect on the ground, they become still, they become frightened, they pay attention, they stop what they're doing during that 10 seconds. You should also become like that by using your voice projection, that when you speak, everybody listens, you know. There is no one who is distracted, there is no one who is tempted to do anything else except to listen to you. So unfortunately, guys, you are out of time, and that is the end of the lesson again. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. I hope you have enjoyed the lesson of the day. And tomorrow we are going to debate. Please come with a very interesting topic that we can use to debate tomorrow, where I will give you a chance to speak on your mic, you know. And yeah, that is what we're going to be. It's going to be more interactive tomorrow than it was today. So thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your questions. If you still have any questions, you can use that email, stemdigitalschool@africapeangeeks.co.za. Speak to us. We want to hear your views, your comments, your complaints, and stuff like that. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us today. And from all of us here at STEM Digital School, we love you. We say take care. Goodbye. See you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Goodbye.